Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Karli Barnett. We're here at the First Alert Desk, and we want to give you a bit of a breakdown of your top stories for today. We just had our afternoon meeting. That's where we discuss where our reporters and our videographers are going to go to bring you the news later on. We do have a 6 o'clock newscast tonight on CBS, as well as 9 and 10 over on Peachtree TV, and then again at 11 tonight. So whether it's on air or online or streaming, we want to make sure that we have you covered in every possible way. We know you're out and about enjoying your weekend, so we want to get started in the stories that we are working on today. Reporter Joshua Skinner will be covering this for us later on. He's going to be attending a rally tonight, and that is from the family of LaShawn Thompson. You may have seen our coverage on this before. He died September 13th of 2022 at 35 years old, and his family alleges that his death was caused by the terrible conditions at the Fulton County Jail. They allege that bed bugs were a possible cause of death, and they are demanding action on this. And so before we move forward with what Joshua is covering today, I do want to go back a little bit and play this story by reporter Zach Summers. He has more details, so listen to this and then we'll talk a little bit more about what Joshua will be covering today.
We ain't gonna let you pass the baton. Justice for LaShawn.
Famed civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump joining the cries for justice for LaShawn Thompson, calling his death inside the Fulton County Jail a human rights violation.
If we don't ask the questions and we don't get the answers and we don't get to the truth, then next time it could be your loved one.
Thompson was found dead inside his cell last September, covered in bed bugs. The 35-year-old, arrested on a misdemeanor charge, struggled with mental illness.
Can you imagine him screaming and him hollering, saying, help, they biting, and nobody come?
Thompson's family say they tried getting answers on their own, but no one would listen. That is until they lawyered up.
I called around to the jail. I emailed the sheriff. I talked to the medical examiner. Nobody would help me.
On Monday, Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labat announced the resignation of 3 top jailers and possibly switching healthcare providers inside the jail. 3 days later, the Board of Commissioners approved $5.3 million to further address inmate safety and security.
Why not fire those judges? They are responsible for LaShawn Thompson's death. They are ready, folks, to move on like business as usual.
As the investigation continues, Sheriff Labat promising accountability, inviting Thompson's family to be part of the solution.
If holding people accountable is a crime, I'll be guilty every day.
Zach Summers, Atlanta News First.
So that's a little bit of a recap of our coverage. Now, we have done several different stories on this. That one is one of the latest. And what is happening later tonight that we will be bringing you in our newscast is that they have renewed pushes for this. They're actually calling for the Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labat to step down in the wake of what happened. This is a note from the family that they sent us about the event later on tonight. So they said that they will be gathering to continue the demand for accountability and transparency in the investigation into what happened to LaShawn Thompson. So we will have more on that later tonight. Something else happening tonight, I'm sure that you have seen a lot of crowds, a lot of traffic, and we definitely have been mindful of that. So we're turning our attention to, of course, Taylor Swift is in town. Last night was maybe a little bit more hectic because you also had Janet Jackson performing. But we do just want to share a few reminders. I myself was at the concert last night, so I do have a little bit of an inside scoop for you as far as getting there and getting home safely. So looks like we had some State Farm Arena video in there. That was for Janet Jackson, but just remember that Taylor Swift is performing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Doors open at 4:30, so almost 10 minutes, for a little less than 10 minutes from now. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of traffic. Keep that in mind whether you are driving around downtown or whether you're trying to take the MARTA. If you are attending the concert tonight, some things to keep in mind. You do have to have a clear bag. That's going to make things a lot easier as you go through security. And we do advise, the concert venue is also advising to use public transportation like MARTA. And the Vine City stop is going to be your best bet as far as getting as close as possible to Mercedes-Benz. I know when we went last night, a lot of people were getting off at the CNN Center, and that's why we just want to give you a little inside scoop there that you may have a better bet getting a little bit closer if you get off at Vine City. But since doors open at 4:30, hey, maybe you're there right now, or maybe you're trying to wait for some of the traffic to die down, but we would advise for you to get there as soon as you possibly can. The earlier, the better for all those Swifties. Now, something that we have later on tonight, Bridget Spencer will be covering this. This is a rally at Stone Mountain where they are holding a Sons of the Confederacy Memorial Day, but you had protesters there saying that this event shouldn't happen. We'll take you to some video here of Stone Mountain now. So this is actually the 20th annual Confederate Memorial Day service. It's being put on by the Georgia Division of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. That's going to happen right in front of the carvings on Stone Mountain. And the Stone Mountain Action Coalition, though, they're opposed to the event altogether, saying that the keynote speaker, John Weaver, they're calling him a racist. They say he's a member of a hate group. That's what they allege. So you have two different protesters and counter-protesters meeting at Stone Mountain, and reporter Bridget Spencer will have more on that later. But speaking of Stone Mountain, we would be remiss if we did not mention that tonight is the last night to see the laser show. As you know it, we have some of this footage from previous commercials and things like that. I certainly remember seeing the laser show growing up here when I was younger. But this is from Stone Mountain. They say after 40 years of illuminating the night sky and delighting audiences of all ages, the iconic laser show is coming to an end. Of course, this has been a staple here in Atlanta, captivating millions of visitors from all around the world. But they say the show's a little outdated. They say it's in need of a revamp. So they have decided to bid farewell to the laser show, and they're going to replace it with a brand new state-of-the-art production. And they say it's going to be bigger, it's going to be brighter, more breathtaking than ever. So tonight at 9 o'clock, this will be your last chance to experience the laser show, at least as we know it. So we certainly can look back with nostalgia at the previous laser show, but also be excited for what's to come, hopefully with their new one. So just going to give you a quick recap here before I turn things over to meteorologist Cutter Martin. So some of the stories we're focusing on tonight. The family of LaShawn Thompson, they are holding a rally. They are demanding justice. They are even saying that the sheriff of Fulton County should be stepping down in light of the conditions at the Fulton County jail. They say it's those conditions that led to the death of their family member. So we will have more on that tonight. Also, there was a rally held at Stone Mountain that involves the Sons of the Confederacy and counter-protesters of an event they're holding for Memorial Day. So we will have more on that. And again, speaking of Stone Mountain and things to do tonight, at 9 o'clock, that will be the last laser show. They say they're going to revamp it, they're going to update it, and bring it back as a completely brand new show. And of course, when we're talking about shows, we have to talk about Taylor Swift. We have tens of thousands of people here in town to see her concert. And of course, I can speak from experience, it is a great show. And we want to make sure that the weather is going to be excellent for all those things. So let's go ahead and take a live look outside right now. It's a little bit cloudy. Started out sunny this morning, but definitely looking a little bit hazier out. So, all right, Cutter, what can fans expect tonight? Not even just fans of the concert, but anyone who's going out to enjoy their weekend.
Yeah, those clouds now, unfortunately, going to continue to lower and thicken up, and we'll have rain in the forecast as early as, after sunset, 7, 8 o'clock this evening. Hit or miss rain, not going to rain everywhere all the time, not steady rain. That will hold off until a little bit later this evening and overnight tonight into our early Sunday morning. So again, thank you for tuning in and for watching. We are checking in on basically just one of our mini sky cams, so they all look the same. This is top end of the perimeter. Looking back southbound, the first skyline you see in the foreground there, that is Buckhead, and then beyond that, you see the Pencil Building, Midtown, and downtown Atlanta. Again, thank you for tuning in and for watching this check of the First Alert forecast on Atlanta News First Plus. I appreciate the viewership, and if you haven't watched one of these, or if you're new to Atlanta News First, my name is Cutter Martin, a meteorologist here at Atlanta News First. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and talk weather now. We're going to start big picture, and notice that we have this kind of winding area of low pressure, and you can literally see that counterclockwise spin there, kind of wrapping up over the Mid-South, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. This area of low pressure will continue to march to the east and to the northeast here over the next few hours, moving in the general direction of North Georgia, and that will bring more rain back into the picture, though our first bout of rain is actually coming from the south and the southwest. The real thunderstorms with this are confined to south central Georgia, the Florida Peninsula, especially the I-10 corridor, kind of the panhandle of the state of Florida. But for us, we're starting to see some clouds stream in ahead of this system. We'll zoom down in. See, clouds are thickening up, but we are still dry, Metro Atlanta for the time being. Zooming down to the south, though, notice that rain kind of building up to the north and to the northeast, so we'll put a tracker on this. It is moving rather quickly, though it will take some time to build into areas along and south of the city of Atlanta I-20 corridor. In fact, I think this is mainly going to remain south of Atlanta. Nonetheless, worthy of a track here. We'll put it on here for the next 6 hours or so, possibly into Griffin by 8:30, Augusta 10 p.m. So if you live south side of Metro Atlanta, southeast side of Metro Atlanta, after sunset, that's when the chance of rain will start to increase. But we'll take you to that full hour by hour here, and again, we're going to load that up for you here in just a moment. And it does look like as we get into early tomorrow morning, that's when the rain chance really starts to climb, 10, 11. Midnight is kind of that ramp-up period, and then most widespread by the time we get to midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. So here's the hour-by-hour forecast. Again, we'll roll it back, 4 p.m. Forecast model is dry, but notice as we go after sunset, first alert, 9, 10, 11, we're going to bring in that chance of additional rain showers, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. So if you are attending the concert, especially as you get ready to go home, it is possible you could be dealing with some wet weather, especially into the metro. I think Blue Ridge is still dry. LJ, we're flirting with sprinkles there, but no steady rain. Calhoun, Rome, probably still dry at that point. But notice how rain develops further to the north and northwest as we get into 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Steady rain could be a couple of embedded thunderstorms in here. We're not looking at a real risk, a legitimate risk of severe weather. That is not really in the cards this go around. Nonetheless, we will have periods of rain moving through North Georgia as we go into the kind of prime sleeping hours tomorrow, so just a heads up on that. And as we go deeper into tomorrow morning, 5, 6, 7 a.m., temperatures in the 50s with a cool breeze blowing. And then rain moves out of here. We'll drop that first alert as we get into mid-morning. And I think by 10, 11 a.m., that rain is out of here. Noon, sunshine is back. So lunch hour or maybe the later brunch is looking just fine for our Sunday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s at noon despite the sunshine. Breezy winds helping to pull in a cooler air mass, and that'll be kind of the story tomorrow. Breezy to at times windy, upper 60s, lower 70s. That's about as warm as we'll make it. That is cooler than today with lots of sunshine, just a couple of clouds, but a dry forecast for your Sunday. Breezy winds, the only impact could be a sprinkle or two up in the mountains. That's about it. Not enough to impact the plans. 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, 60s are the rule, but as we go into 11 o'clock tomorrow evening, notice how we're back in the 40s and 50s, and we'll wake up Monday morning out the door 7 a.m., 40s for just about everybody. Could even be some upper 30s up into the mountains of far north Georgia. I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. Michael Baxter, hello to you. Claiborne Watkins, hello. Thank you for tuning in and for watching the forecast. Again, if you missed anything, just kind of beginning at the beginning of the forecast and kind of recapping, we're tracking clouds moving into Metro Atlanta right now, already kind of gloomy after a sunny start. And we do have some gloomier conditions on the way. Again, it does look like the risk of rain will be increasing overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Looking pretty likely that we're going to have some steady rain late tonight into tomorrow morning, along with the just general gloomy kind of drizzly conditions. And there could even be a few rumbles of thunder, a few embedded thunderstorms overnight tonight. We'll walk you hour by hour one more time before we sign off and send you on our way. Forecast model, this is what a computer thinks radar will look like along with satellite. So clouds, that's the gray and the white. The greens is the indication of rain. And notice how it's doing a good job with the clouds and shows a mostly dry condition at the moment. So forecast model doing a good job. And it wants to bring in some rain as we get into the 7, 8, 9 o'clock hours. So we'll bring in that first alert after sunset. Rain becomes widespread late evening overnight tonight. And this is when some of that rain could be briefly heavy. Some rumbles of thunder, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Rain kind of sits over the 85 corridor for a while and then starts to gradually scoot to the south and east. So by 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, even Eatonton, even Athens, starting to dry out pretty quickly. The rest of us probably drying out even earlier than that. And by noon tomorrow, back to sunshine, 60s, breezy, low humidity, feeling like an early spring day. Temperatures only peaking in the upper 60s and lower 70s tomorrow afternoon despite the sun, and we were warmer today despite the cloud. So a change of air mass, some cooler air is moving in, breezy winds, lower humidity. You'll feel the difference. A really nice Sunday ahead of us. In the meantime, though, first alert late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Rain is on the way. Could be a few embedded thunderstorms. Not really, though, worried about the risk of severe weather, but there could be some rumbles of thunder overnight tonight. We'll leave you with a live look of our beautiful but increasingly cloudy city of Atlanta. Again, full weather forecast coming up here in just a bit on Atlanta News First at 6 p.m. If you're on the go, no worries. You can stream it anywhere you're watching this stream as well at atlantanewsfirst.com. But if you're out and about this evening, First Alert Weather app, a great tool to have. Not only can you stream the newscast, but also get that latest hour-by-hour forecast and be alerted to rain approaching your plans this evening or early tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Now evening. We'll see you in just a little bit on Atlanta News First.